welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. The trial against Anna Kepner's stepbrother. Okay, remember how he was initially identified by his initials because he is a minor? Well, that changed earlier this year. But the big update this week is that his trial has been postponed. His defense team asked for it to be postponed due to they still wanted to do some more work on the case. It was supposed to start next month. It will now start on November 2nd. So we have a little bit more of a wait before this is actually heard by a jury in South Florida. In the meanwhile, we can go through a bit of this case, basically what this case is based on. And I'm also going to be getting more documents. And since we have a couple months, we can also go through all the documents between now and then if you guys would like. Or we can do another thing that I also like to do is not know as much and then just start day one of the trial once the jury has been seated and just listen to the trial and go from there, just like the jury. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. I may post a poll on that. I haven't done a poll in a while, so I need to use some of those fun tools that YouTube actually does offer in the community tab. Just a side note, you guys can also send comments to me, post there as well if you have a case or something you would like to mention to be covered here on the channel. So again, this is Timothy Hudson on the left. He is the step brother. We need to find a nickname for him. I don't, yeah, I don't know, guys. Again, any suggestions, very, very welcome. I don't care that he's a teenager, he's a minor. The crimes that he has committed are now being charged as an adult, so he's kind of lost any ability to say, oh, I'm just a kid. Yeah, not anymore. And that beautiful girl on the right was 18-year-old Anna Kepner. In a nutshell, he sexually assaulted her on the family cruise last year, and then he killed her. That's in a nutshell. But we're going to back up just a hair to give you guys more of an update since I haven't really talked about it here too much lately. Again, Timothy Hudson, he was previously just identified in the media and through documents, paperwork, just by his initials. So he used to just be known as TH. But we all know the internet sleuths and folks all over the world, let's just say the world, the country for sure, pretty much figured out who this kid was early on. But he's now been appearing in Miami in the federal court to face these charges that have been brought against him in the abuse, assault, and murder of his stepsister. He has been charged with first-degree murder and aggravated sexual abuse. And again, as an adult. He is standing accused of R-ing his 18-year-old stepsister, Anna Kepner, during a family vacation in November of last year before strangling her and then leaving her body under the bed in their cruise stateroom that they shared. He then began living later on with his uncle and their two children in Hernando County after the charges were initially filed in juvenile court. He couldn't live with his mother, his family, because of the other children around, and he was taken into custody, back in earlier this year. I think it was February 6th, from what I understand. Could be wrong on that, but it was earlier this year that he was taken into custody by the feds, and he's been spending his days and nights when he's not in court with the jail, basically in Citrus County. According to prosecutors, there is footage showing that Timothy and Anna entered their shared stateroom at around 7:30 the night before she was found deceased, and cell phone records they indicate that Anna was still alive and she was posting to Snapchat at 8:14 p.m. Prosecutors said that there's footage showing Timothy Hudson sticking his head out of the door at 10:13 p.m. and looking both ways before exiting their room. Not as if that's not suspicious or anything, right? And then there are records from Anna Kepner's cell phone that her cell phone was carried to another deck on that Carnival cruise ship, where it was believed to have been ditched in a trash can. And then a cruise ship employee later found that phone in a garbage collection area. Prosecutors are alleging that Hudson Ard Kepner, based on the positioning of her clothing as well as DNA evidence. And we all know DNA evidence is a big deal. Anna Kepner was reportedly wearing a sweatshirt and sweatpants, and when investigators removed her pants, they discovered that her underwear was twisted and positioned on her private area in a way that indicated she was sexually assaulted. Now, DNA from a significant amount of grayish fluid that was found in Anna's body, it matched samples that were provided to investigators by Timothy Hudson, and court documents, they state that Kepner had had sex with another male while on the ship, but his DNA was not found on her. So I guess she did find somebody, I guess, to have relations with on the ship, but the fact that her stepbrother was so obsessed with her, I mean, this case is just so disturbing, guys. It really, really is. The autopsy report concluded that Anna Kepner's cause of death was mechanical asphyxiation, and the prosecutors, they are alleging that Timothy Hudson strangled her to death with his hands. Her neck was bruised, and both bruising and blood were discovered around her ear, per court documents. Anna Kepner's toxicology report, it showed that she had a therapeutic dose of bupital, and I know I'm saying that wrong, guys, in her system, which she reportedly consumed after complaining of pain from her braces. That is a sedative used in combination with other drugs like acetaminophen to relieve symptoms of tension headaches. For folks. Then that's according to Mayo Clinic's information. And Timothy, he's pled not guilty to the murder and sexual assault charges. And he's basically now waiting for his trial since they put him back in jail, and he's waiting for his trial, which will begin on November 2nd. So this is a website called the spacerocket.com. It's actually a really cool website name. And they have a timeline of this case. So instead of having to compile my own, I'm actually just going to use theirs. So I will link to them in the information of this video, but it is the spacerocket.com. The timeline starts on November 7th, 2025. Anna Kepner, 18 of Titusville, is found dead in the cabin that she shared with her stepbrother, Timothy Hudson, and her younger sibling aboard the Carnival Cruise Line Horizon, which was en route to Miami on the high seas. The cause of death is later determined to be mechanical asphyxiation. She was strangled. The FBI assumes jurisdiction at the port of Miami. And remember, not a lot of stuff happened from November and December and January, kind of that holiday time. It seemed like it was super quiet. And I do have a playlist, so I'll link to that in the information of the video as well. Um, but the first couple months or so of this case until we hit February, there was a lot of silence when it, from the investigators. It was a little frustrating, but then things started to move. February 2nd, 2026, federal prosecutors, they filed a sealed information charging Timothy Hudson under the Juvenile Delinquency Act with murder in the first degree as well as aggravated sexual abuse. February 3rd, 2026, Hudson surrendered himself at the United States Attorney's Office located in Miami and is formally arrested. He appears before Magistrate Judge Torres, pleads not guilty, and demands discovery. February 6, 2026, a multi hour detention hearing is held. Judge Torres finds probable cause exists for both charges, but declines to detain Timothy Hudson, releasing him to a family member with conditions. The Judge Torres notes that if the case transfers to adult status, the government may seek to revisit his release. Now, so my earlier stating that he was taken into custody in February, yeah, I think it's further down, so we'll get to that. Make sure we have that correction listed for the on the channel here, right, for the record. I remember when we first heard that he was not going to be held, you know, in jail. It really, I was like, you got to be kidding me, right? He is he is charged with first degree murder and sexual abuse, sexual battery on his stepsister. And the judge and everyone's like, it's okay, you can just go home and you just have conditions. And, I know he didn't go home. He went to another family member's house, but he was allowed to be free to some extent. So that was very frustrating for sure. February 19th, 2026, the government provides its first discovery response to defense counsel, including all FBI reports and investigation materials. February 23rd, 2026, Timothy Hudson signs the written waiver requesting adult prosecution. Yeah, he actually said that if they felt warranted, he wanted to be charged as an adult. I found that very interesting. February 24th, 2026, prosecutors file the unopposed motion to transfer the case to adult status. February 26th, 2026, Judge Bloom, he enters the transfer order. March 10th, 2026, a federal grand jury returns the superseding indictment. This is when prosecutors filed juvenile court certifications from Miami-Dade and Brevard counties confirming that Hudson has no prior record as required before the adult transfer is finalized. April 7th through 8th, 2026, the government files its third discovery response. Magistrate Judge Torres holds a hearing, finds proper certifications have been filed, and orders the adult transfer finalized. And this is when the docket is unsealed. Because up till then, because he was a juvenile, his record was sealed. April 10th, 2026, the case is formally and officially transferred to adult prosecution. April 13th, 2026, the United States Attorney's Office publicly announces the indictment. The government simultaneously files the motion to revoke Timothy Hudson's release and detain him pending trial. And today's date also marks the filing deadline under the Bail Reform Act, as the motion was filed just 3 days after the April 10th finalization of the adult transfer. Now, I don't believe this has been updated since April, their timeline here. But like I said, this is a very, very good website. They have quite a bit of information here. Like they go on to say, what happens next? Well, we already know we are now waiting for his trial. We were all ready to go to trial next month. I mean, it was right around the corner. I will say I am glad they didn't push it out to 2027. But let's not get too excited because this is already the second delay for Timothy's trial, right? So it is possible that they'll ask for another delay or something else will come up, and this will be yet another case that is going to take place in 2027 because they are starting to pile up. So this was again from about April of this year. The status conference must now be scheduled to set a detention hearing. Both sides have indicated they believe the evidence that was presented back in February at the juvenile detention hearing is sufficient for the court to rule, meaning the hearing may be relatively brief. And then, of course, this is when Hudson also still needs to be formally arraigned on the superseding indictment. Prosecutors estimate the trial itself will take approximately 7 days. I don't know. I think it could take longer, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. When we hit the days leading up to when we finally are going to get a trial, if it happens on November 2nd. Under the Federal Speedy Trial Act, trial must be scheduled within 70 days of indictment unless waived by the defendant. Well, he's pretty much waived that now, so. But a week? What do you guys think? I think it's going to be more than a week. Hudson is represented by Assistant Federal Public Defenders Eric Cohen, Abigail Becker, and Evan Kuhl of the Federal Public Defender's Office for the Southern District of Florida. The case is assigned to the United States District Judge Beth Bloom, with Magistrate Judge Edward G. Torres handling pre-trial matters. So that is basically with this week's update, rather, what's been going on, as far as that's concerned. And they do have some information listed here. They do have when the bail was revoked, that particular document listed here. And then the superseding indictment is also listed. And we could take a quick look at that. So this one here is the grand jury charges that count 1, murder, on or about November 6, 2025, within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States, upon the high seas, and out of the jurisdiction of any particular state or district, with Miami-Dade County in the Southern District of Florida being in the district in which the offender was arrested. The defendant, T.H., a minor, which we all know now is Timothy Hudson, no longer a minor when it comes to this case, did knowingly and unlawfully perpetrate and attempt to perpetrate a murder that is 1, the willful, deliberate, malicious, and premeditated killing of Anna Kepner with malice aforethought, and 2, the unlawful killing of Anna Kepner during the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate an aggravated sexual abuse in violation of Title 18 United States Code Sections 1111A and 7. And this right here is the unopposed motion to transfer the case to the adult status, which we just spoke about. And that's pretty much it for what they have listed here. So that's pretty much where this case stands right now. Timothy, he's waiting trial. They basically have a couple months, just under that, really. I believe at the end of October, they're supposed to be like a preliminary hearing. That's how long they have to prepare if this trial does start on November 2nd. And of course, that would be the first day of jury selection. So I don't know. Do we think that the defense is going to be ready to go in a couple months and finally get this get this trial going? Or do you think that we're going to see another filing where Timothy's going to look for yet another delay? I mean, he's kind of already put himself where, he knows he's guilty, but I am really curious about what his defense is to all this. I mean, we did hear about his mom talking about that he's on certain medications and, all this and that. But, mental illness, if you have depression, anxiety, any of these things, that's not an excuse for murder. And it's not an excuse to R somebody. None of that. There was something and is something very, very wrong with Timothy Hudson. And his stepsister, she was scared of him. We heard that from the beginning. And, her ex-boyfriend, others have said that she was scared of him. And I still do not believe that her family, that they asked her directly if it was okay for her to stay in that cabin with her younger brother, her actual blood brother, and Timothy, her stepbrother. I don't think that if she was actually asked, I don't think she would have stayed there. Because obviously stepmom was stating that she had the option of staying with the boys or with her grandparents. I don't believe for a second that she was given given a choice. Let me know if you guys disagree with that. I'm curious as that as well. But please let me know your thoughts on this case thus far. I mean, I guess it's really good because we're getting, unless it gets pushed out to 2027, we are getting a trial within about a year of this, horrific assault and murder happening. So it would be nice to see this justice for Anna by the end of 2026. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.